Hi, it's a Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I have the new Sydney Grace palette, the new Be Mine palette to play with today. When I heard that they were releasing this new palette, I was like, okay, what time, what day, I'll be there. So this is what the new palette looks like. This is the Be Mine palette. It is just the regular cardboard packaging. It does have a nice mirror in here. This palette, like many of their more neutral leaning palettes from Sydney Grace, comes in a light option and a deep option. This is the light version of the Be Mine. But if you're looking at it, you've got a really nice mix. You do have some kind of, warmer shades, like right up and through here. You have some berries and some pinks, and then a lot of deeper shades. I am excited to see what these look like. I normally would go like straight for the top row, but not today. I'm gonna push myself outside of my comfort zone, and I'm gonna start with the shade right in the middle. This one's called Darling. I'm struggling a little bit, and that's because I put down an eyeshadow primer and I didn't set the primer. And I feel like the powder is grabbing in certain areas. I'm gonna grab a different brush here. This is the Sonia G Crease 1, and I'm gonna see if this can help in those places where I'm struggling. Oh yeah. I'm gonna use the shade right next to it that's a little bit deeper. This one's called Pucker Up. I'm gonna stay on this kind of more pinpointed brush here, and I'm gonna put a little bit of this in the outside corner. I feel like Sydney Grace formula is so good, it never really needs a primer. It wears beautifully all day, but part of me was like, okay, commit to the beauty YouTube standards and use an eyeshadow primer. Almost struggle a little bit today, but I'll just tell you, it's not the shadows, it's the fact that I put an eyeshadow primer down and didn't set it. I'm gonna use this light matte shade here. This one's called Soulmates. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of that and go underneath the arch of the brow. I'm really just trying to soften all of my little edges here. I'm gonna go back to that first shade in Darling and put a little bit of that underneath my eyes. For the longest time, I was not a pink eyeshadow fan, and I feel like that has changed a lot. I don't know. I think it's interesting the seasons that we go through with the things that we like and kind of the makeup choices that we make, and what we're craving. And I used to avoid pinks and plums at all costs, and now I'm really liking them. I think it's interesting. I'm going to go back into this deeper shade here and Pucker Up and just put a little bit of this on the lower lash line on the outside, kind of corner of my eye, just for a little depth, not too much. I'm really liking the way this turned out. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to put on the lid, and I think all of these give just a very different approach. These two shades in the middle are the lightest and the deepest in that center row right here. So the deepest and the lightest are right here. And this one here on the end that's a little purplier is this one called I Love You. And then this really metallic-y one is this guy over here. What's this one called? Smooch. So I always have loved the reflective qualities of the products that I get from Sydney Grace, but I don't know which one to put on. Maybe we'll do this. I'm going to start with a little bit of the one at the end of this row, kind of out here. I'm not going to take it all the way to the end. I'm going to take this lighter pink shade here. This one's called Flirty. Kind of build it up over the center of the eye. I'm just going to take a minute to kind of blend these colors into the crease a little bit. I'm going to take kind of like a small detail brush and go into that lightest shade in Smooch and hit the inner corner. I'm going to pick up more of this shade here called Cupid on this little detail brush and hit just the center of the lower lash line. I want a little bit of reflection there. I'm going to take just a minute to throw on a little bit of eyeliner and mascara lipstick, and I might adjust my blush. I'll be right back. I really like the way this eye look turned out. I was a little bit worried at first with my eyeshadow primer faux pas, but it's okay. I feel like the eyeshadows overcame the, you know, application struggles I gave it, and I feel like it blends really nicely, and I feel like you can really see a gradation of color from lighter on the inside to deeper on the outside without it looking too harsh. I used every single shade in the middle row and incorporated this one here on the top as well in the inner corner. Let's do some swatches. This is the first row. You have 2 metallics and 3 mattes. Same here, 2 metallics and 3 mattes in row number 2. And row number 3 has 4 metallic shades and 1 matte black. This palette retails for $52. I feel like it's a reasonable price considering you're getting 15 shades and a nice mirror. I like that it is thin cardboard packaging. I think the packaging is super cute. My favorite part about this though is the fact that you have a mix of warm and cool. And I feel like these first 2 rows, you can get a very cohesive look out of each of these, and these guys can be pulled in for interest. I'm sure if you're a more creative person than I am, you could make this whole row its own beautiful eye look. They're pretty dark and intense. I mean, they're gorgeous. So I probably wouldn't do it, but I don't know, maybe I should. Maybe I should just shove myself right over the edge out of my comfort zone into the deep dark eyeshadow pool and fall into a beautiful shade combo with these guys. But I feel like this quality is exactly what I expect from Sydney Grace. Let's take a look at some Sydney Grace palettes side by side. So this right here is the new one. This is the Summer Days light version. I feel like, you know, there might be a shade or two that could be close, but I'm sure if they were swatched side by side, they would not be identical. This is the Coffee Talk light version. I feel like there's a couple, maybe 3 shadows that are similar. Of course, the one in the upper top corner of both of these palettes, those could be a little bit similar. At the end of the first row of the new one, there is a deep brown. There is also a deep brown over here. And beneath the deep brown on this side, there is a shade called Cup of Joe, which kind of reminds me of this. If I'm looking at them side by side, this one's a little bit more bronzy. This one's a little bit more cool, but I feel like we might have some similarities with maybe 3 shades. I haven't opened this palette in forever. This is the Chase Your Dreams palette. I feel like it definitely is more of a sunset palette. I was curious about some of the purple tones in here, and I feel like it's very distinctly different. I have the original packaging from the Enduring Love palette. This is also the light version. I feel like, I don't know, we have some similarities. I feel like the purples, some of the purples could be similar. I definitely feel like this shade right here kind of reminds me of the first one in the bottom row on this one here, and maybe some of those shimmery and lighter kind of pinky shades in here you're seeing in other places too. I wouldn't say that these are like identical, but they're definitely related. I feel like these guys are cousins. The last Sydney Grace palette I have to show you is the collab with Mel Thompson. This is the Tiny Marvels. I don't know whether they're going to restock this. I don't know. I feel like you're getting very different looks here. I think if you look at this shade and this shade, you might find some similar shades over here. And I feel like the second shade in the top row on both of these are kind of similar, maybe even the 4th shade on the top row. I feel like we have a few similarities here, but then this one veers off and is a little bit darker overall. And this one here has more of your pastel shades with the green and that really vibrant, almost lilac-y periwinkle shade, and it has some interesting duochromes in it. I feel like they do different things, and I feel like you can get distinctly different looks from it. I don't feel like adding this to my collection is going to be an exact match of something that I already have, but I'm kind of surprised to see as I'm taking a look at them, you know, side by side. Yeah, there are a few here. Yep, there are a few there. So everything in the Giant palette, they're all Sydney Grace singles. And I feel like I might have been able to, maybe not identically, but to have gotten a similar feeling 15 pan palette that I built myself out of things in here. I will tell you, when it comes to this formula, I am never upset to have more. There are some brands that I feel like, oh, I have enough. I don't need that new palette. There are some brands where I don't like the formula at all and there's no way I'm gonna pick it up. But I feel like with Sydney Grace, I love it so much. It wears so well on me and I feel like it's reasonably priced for what you're getting. I mean, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, of course I'm getting it. Of course I'm getting it. I had so much fun playing with this today and I cannot wait to do another look. I think there's a good chance that had I taken the time to, you know, a shade from here, a shade from there, I could have built a 15 pan palette that would have had a very similar feel to this. I feel like this could have very easily been something I could have cobbled together, you know, one shade from this palette, one shade from there, a couple from my singles, and I feel I could have done that. But the truth is, I like having it all right here. And I feel like for the price, $52, you just really can't go wrong. I've tried a lot of other beautiful formulas. Pat McGrath is beautiful, Natasha Denona is beautiful, but they're so much more expensive. Like, you can't get 15 shades from either of those without paying, like, I think the midi palettes from Natasha Denona are $65, and anything that has 10 or more shades, you're talking $125 from Pat McGrath. So I just want to let you know, if you've never tried these, they're definitely worth your time and attention. I have fallen in love with this brand so much. I knew I wanted this in my collection and I am so glad to get it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you ever tried Sydney Grace? Do you have a favorite formula, a favorite shade range, a favorite individual shade that you love so much, or maybe one of the palettes is just like your everything? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day and I will see you again soon.